Welcome to Nerds Amalgamated, a podcast that covers the latest events in science, pop culture, and gaming.
I'm the Professor, aspiring game developer, sci-fi aficionado, and completely and undeniably a geek trying to take over the world. I'll be breaking down the news from tech to gaming.
I am the DJ, a humble nerd, a big weeb,
and a watcher from the halls of the multiverse.
Just kidding. Anyways, I'll be breaking down all things comics to movies to anime.
Join us and stay hydrated as we quench you with witty banter, unintentionally hilarious hot takes, and trivia more fun than a night at the pub, courtesy of Nerds Amalgamated.
Yo, what's going on? This is another episode of Nerds Amalgamated with yours truly, the DJ, and with my co-host, the lovely Professor.
Stop trying to sound cool, DJ.
Oh.
You're not cool. Admit it.
And BPM's off again. This time, I think he's trying to do a head transplant in a D&D game. Last I remembered.
D&D got wild.
But how have you been, Professor?
I'm fine.
Did you enjoy the season finale of Doctor Who?
I did. And now, a week later, it's just like it's not the weekend without an episode of Doctor Who.
I know that feeling. I know. But at least, like you said the other day, there's always the Christmas special.
Yeah, but I've got to wait 6 months for that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the 6 months wait. Yeah.
Really, only having 8 episodes in a season isn't enough.
A couple of TV shows have done it. I mean, Game of Thrones have done it.
Yeah, and Game of Thrones was shit.
Yeah, okay. I stand corrected, yep.
I don't know when they started doing 8 episodes a season, but I know the Game of Thrones had a big fall off.
Yep, that was a very bad. That was very bad at the end. What was the other show I was thinking of that ended with 8 episodes? Couple of animes have done it. Last I recall.
Yeah, there are plenty of good ones, but this season felt very rushed. Especially because there was a lot of filming conflicts with the other shows that they were working on.
Yeah.
So we ended up having a couple of episodes that basically had no presence from the Doctor.
Nope. Yeah. I am tempted to check it out. It's just I've just been watching a lot of stuff about the Acolyte, and I saw bits and pieces of it, and I'm just going, "What have you done, Disney? What have you done?" And I decided to wash it off by watching the unaltered original trilogy of Star Wars, and that's made me teary-eyed with nostalgia.
Yeah, you're probably old enough to have seen them in cinemas.
No, actually, I was too young. I was very young when they all came out. So I think I think Return of the Jedi would be the only one I might have seen when I was a little kid, but that's about it. But and also while I was watching Star Wars, I was finishing my Gundam. I finished the top half. Now I have to do the bottom half of the Gundam, so that's gonna take me a while. The downside to building a Gundam is the doing the detailing work, which takes up a lot of time. But on to our episode. So for this week, we're talking about modern MMOs, geoengineering, cure or curse, and GTA the movie. So for our first topic, we're talking about modern MMOs. What have you got for us on this one, Professor?
Well, considering your age, you've probably played the MMO this article's about.
EverQuest 2?
Yep.
I've heard of this game, but I haven't played it. Was it any good?
I haven't played it, but it's one of the classic MMOs. But the creative director, Kyle Valley, has come out and said that modern MMOs have lost their community focus and that they don't give people the tools to build a community anymore. He says that the MMOs that he's playing these days are solo games that happen to have multiple players, rather than multiplayer games.
Okay, when he says the tools to build a community, what is What does he mean by that?
Well, he doesn't really elaborate on that, but I think what he means is that things like forcing players to work together and interact with each other.
Mm.
So modern MMOs will have something like, I'm going with RuneScape because that's pretty much the only MMO I have a lot of experience in. They'll have something like the Grand Exchange where you can trade an item with anyone, but it's more like a buy and sell on the market rather than trading with another player.
Hmm.
The older games, everything was a lot more analog. You'd have to actually meet up with other players. You'd have to speak to them to trade with them, and you'd have to actually meet up with friends to play through some of the content. The author of the article says that the challenge of EverQuest, because monsters were deadly, some classes couldn't solo, and that you really had to have a group, was that the challenge would bring you together. Because if you wanted to progress in the game, you had to form an alliance.
Yeah, that whole idea of building a community and making friends nowadays it's a lost art.
A lot of modern games will have, I think this is part of a trend that we're seeing, that a lot of modern games will have looking for group or instant matchmaking rather than community servers and clans. Traditionally, you'd have to go and speak to people and get to know them to be part of their group in an MMO. Now most MMOs have a feature where you can be placed in a group. And the same for FPS games and other games. Rather than having to join a community server where you might get to know the regulars on the server and have a chat with them in between maps or during downtime, you play instant matchmaking where you have no chance to get to know anyone.
Do you reckon now with modern communication, it's gotten rid of that element? Like you have now, let's say Facebook groups or Discord servers and your IRC or your community boards, for example. You reckon that's kind of taken that element?
No, I think that's a sign of a different change. What I think is worth noting is that I've
Professor.
lost that train of thought. I had a thought there and it's gone.
No way! You just froze and all of a sudden, oh, what happened?
I don't know. I haven't had enough hot chocolate today.
Damn. Because the crazy thing, like you're right in terms of like there's no interaction anymore when you want to like get to know people and do that. Remember back in the old days, this is talking my age, when you just when you have to interact with people at school or in the real world and go, hey, do you ever play World of Warcraft or Mortal Kombat and stuff? Yeah, I play Mortal Kombat and stuff. Yeah,
No, shut
let's
up,
hang out and
nerd.
stuff. But that's the problem. Like now you don't see that anymore in the real world. Now you're like you talk about this, you meet up on Facebook and or social media, that's it. Like that whole element of building a community, it's gone in the real world.
But at the same time, how many people in the real world do you know who play World of Warcraft?
Yeah, it's a lost art
Like
now.
it's a big game.
Yeah.
There's millions of players. But the odds of you personally knowing someone who plays World of Warcraft and wants to play it with you
Yeah.
are still pretty slim.
Yep. Yeah.
If you get on the internet, you can play World of Warcraft with anyone from around the world.
But then the downside would be like you have to juggle. Like, let's say you want to do a raid at this specific dungeon, you have to wait for the other guys to show up, and you have to try and deal with the time zone differences and everything like that. And it gets hairy as it goes on. But with when you try and build a community, he is right in terms of there's no community building aspect of it nowadays. Like there's no friendships developing kind of in a sense.
Well, I think it's also that the kind of games that people are forming communities around are different. MMOs also have a particular style that not a lot not everyone's into. They're designed to really be a grind fest these days.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're not, from the perspective of game design, I don't think most MMOs have particularly innovative game design.
Yeah,
They
I
all
can
seem to follow a particular formula.
yeah, I can agree with you there. Like Genshin Impact would be the biggest example of it being a grind fest.
At the same time, they do get people coming back.
Hmm.
But we're also seeing more multiplayer games that aren't MMOs. And that's also forming a community around those multiplayer games that aren't MMOs that happens to work in a slightly different way to MMO communities.
Such as which game, for example, can you think of off the top of your head?
Well, the Armor series.
Hmm.
It's a military simulator.
Yeah.
And it has some really great, high fidelity simulations of weapons and stuff. But to get the most out of a game like Armor, you need to play with a group of at least a few other people. I've played in groups, well, really the one group as it's risen and fallen from having 60 people a night down to we're lucky if we get 10. But that's just the nature of games. It's been out for 10 years. People have moved on.
Yeah, that's the other problem with with MMO games. It's the whole content. Like there's no the whole content pushing.
Yeah, the best time to play an MMO is the first week after launch.
Yeah.
And then you see usually the player count will decrease from then on.
Hmm. Although there are some games, MMO games that do still survive. Like as I said, Genshin Impact will be one. I mean, Helldivers is it's I know it's not MMO, but it's people still play that game even after the week after it's first launched.
Yeah, and if you look at the player count, it's trending downwards because of just the natural attrition over time.
Hmm.
And also because of a few blunders they've had, like the whole Sony account thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But aside from that, I wouldn't really call Helldivers an MMO because you only play with 4 people at a time.
Hmm.
And you've got the campaign map, but that is really quite limited interaction with people outside your group of 4.
Hmm.
So, but also only having 4 people means you can have a more tight-knit group. It'll just be you and your best friends.
Yeah.
Rather than MMOs, which aim for groups of 20 or 40 people.
Even Destiny as well. Like that game was it's even though it's not an MMO per se, it still operates a bit like an MMO as well.
Yeah, it's still got the same deal with instance dungeons that you enter
Hmm.
with your friends. But
Yeah.
it's also a bit of an outlier because it has gotten close to its all-time highest player count after the release of its newest patch.
Yeah. The final was it the final plot or something like that?
The final shape, I think.
Ah, yes.
Which, spoilers, it's a triangle.
God damn it. It's always the triangle. How about okay, compare that to your traditional MMO like Warcraft. Do you reckon MMOs are gonna survive in the long run? Given how Destiny is kind of going up and you're seeing Warcraft as well going up. Do you reckon MMOs might survive in the long run?
Yeah, I don't see them going anywhere. There are enough MMOs out there that, the market must be saturated.
Hmm.
But there are enough MMOs out there that you can find one that you like if you're into that sort of gameplay.
Hmm.
And you can find your own little
Community.
corner of the internet.
Yeah.
I think one of the other big changes is that there are more ways to be social online than just MMOs.
I think the community building aspect when it comes to the MMO games, I think they need to. I think it's evolving. Would that be the right word to say it?
I guess so. It's evolving into something different.
But the problem with but the thing with evolutions is that you can see the process, but you don't know how the process will help or hinder the overall picture of the community. If you get what I mean, like,
It's hard to see what the endpoint will be.
but okay, what else did the author said in in this article besides the lack of community tools?
That's pretty much it, apart from a couple of paragraphs plugging EverQuest 2. They are apparently doing a classic server at the moment, based on a build from 2006.
Oh damn!
And it's pretty popular, so it will be interesting to see if the popularity of things like World of Warcraft Classic and EverQuest Classic will lead to people playing retro games more. The big question is whether the reason people are playing those classic versions is for nostalgia, or if the game design is genuinely better.
Yeah.
That's hard to say, really.
I mean, that's the problem when it comes to bringing back old games is whether they will still have the same stuff that made themselves popular, like Grand Theft. Remember Grand Theft Auto? How they brought back Vice City and San Andreas, and that was a very bad idea in the end.
The reason the Grand Theft Auto remasters failed was because they were buggy messes.
Oh yeah.
They were the absolute minimum effort, and they were not worth playing because they were so buggy.
Not to mention the fact that a lot of stuff in the end were copyrighted as well.
Yeah, they lost some of their songs because of the licensing fee.
Yeah. And who could forget selfie cam?
You have to remind me, what's the deal with selfie cam?
I think it was wasn't it just basically like they wanted to take a you can take selfies while you were in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, for example, and there were memes about that.
All right.
Oh, it was wait. I'm just looking at it. Some of them said it's a mod. Some of them said it was something else. But okay, I might be mistaken. My mistake. So we're onto our next topic. We talk about geoengineering, whether it's a cure or a curse. So this is your article as well, Professor, from what I can see.
Yes. Geoengineering might not actually be as world saving as we desperately hope and need it to be. And that's because of a study which found that marine cloud brightening, basically by creating clouds in the lower atmosphere, you can reflect the sunlight away from Earth. You hope that will then reduce the temperature, and it does. But the study found that by producing a cloud on the western US coast, it ends up heating up the Western Europe.
So in other words, something that's supposed to help the world is destroying the world at the same time.
Not even that, it's just making it more uncomfortable for people in Europe. So really, are we looking at this from the right point of view? And geopolitically, if America decided they wanted to cloud seed the Pacific Ocean, no one could stop them. So
So in other words,
there's
they
nothing,
create. Oh, sorry.
nothing stopping the US from actually just going and burning out Western Europe because they want to.
So in other words, America has created a super weapon. Bizarrely.
It could be used as a weapon.
I could totally see it now. The couple of scientists at DARPA have got are going. Yes, what shall we do next? Oh, I know. Let's flood the Middle East, or let's destroy Africa, or let's destroy Asia.
Yeah, it's a possibility.
Oh man, I could totally see some guy who looks like Hank Scorpio at the UN go like, okay, if you don't give in to our demands, we will annihilate your world through the power of weather.
Yep, weather manipulation is already a thing and could have unintended consequences.
Oh boy. remember how we all thought that weather manipulation was just a science fiction plot? Now it's come to reality.
Yep.
So, what techniques have the geoengineering people have created?
It really depends on what you're trying to do. Geoengineering covers a whole swath of technologies, ranging from cloud brightening to cloud seeding to make it rain. There's a promising one to basically grind up a rock into gravel, a particular rock. I think olivine, make it into gravel and then spread it on the beach, and it will absorb CO2 from the atmosphere. There's also talk about biologically engineering plants that are more reflective to reflect more heat from the Earth. We are basically messing with forces beyond our comprehension, and it's the only way we're going to save the world.
Yeah, but what price though? I mean, sure, though it might benefit the planet, but at the same time, are humans gonna be benefited from this?
That's the whole goal of saving the planet, yes.
Yeah, okay, I understand that part, but then, as you said, there will be unintended consequences. Like people will be pretty mad.
Yep, there will be people getting angry about this, people getting angry if they don't do it.
Although I'm seeing some of the benefits here. They said that this will reduce the one technique, which is the MCB, also known as marine cloud brightening. So this will reduce the relative risk of dangerous summer heat exposure in parts of the western US by as much as 55%. However, it will dramatically reduce rainfall and in both the western US and other parts of the world, such as the Sahel of Africa.
Yeah, and when it comes down to it, who deserves that rainfall? If you can cause the rainfall to fall somewhere else,
Hmm.
who deserves that? Are we deciding who is the better person? Who is the first class citizen?
Who is worthy?
Yeah, because are we going to see rich countries doing this and screw the poor?
Oh boy, he's Professor now, just going into. You'd be like, I can totally see you, Professor, going like, who will benefit from this?
Hopefully everyone, but as we've just seen, not everyone.
I could really see corporations taking advantage of this and using it for maybe using it not for altruistic reasons, but just to like get more money, essentially. Like,
That's true of any corporation.
yeah, yeah.
That's like literally the goal of corporations.
Hmm. This could. What else would be interesting is the fact that this could take away. This could take away GMOs.
How would it take away from GMOs?
Like you don't need like we used to think GMOs would be the way in dealing with food shortages, but when you take when with weather manipulation, you don't need GMOs to make more food and stuff. You just need weather manipulation to grow.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna be true. I think there will still be farmers pushing for and scientists pushing for GMO crops because they have so many other benefits.
Hmm.
Like the golden rice is a massive, massive deal because it is basically going to prevent malnutrition for millions of people.
Yeah.
That is a completely different goal to solving climate change because instead of creating more food, you're creating food that is better adapted to feeding people.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. That's also now that you mentioned climate change, that's going to be interesting. Will this help the climate change argument or hinder the climate change argument using this sort of technology?
As in the argument that climate change doesn't exist?
As in, yeah, yeah,
Well, there is no argument. Climate change exists.
sure,
Anyone
but
who says otherwise is an idiot.
yeah, yeah.
But this study is an example of human caused climate change. So I really don't get your point.
Okay, my mistake.
Is an example of human caused climate change going to benefit the argument against human caused climate change?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Because I'm reading somewhere that it said I'm reading one of the quotes. Daniel Harris at the Southern Cross University in Australia, is the project lead of this research, looking into whether MCB could be used in the future as a tool to mitigate heat waves in the Barrier Reef region. He says the scenario modeled by the new paper's authors are completely unrealistic and extreme. It's a huge poke to the global climate system, so of course there will be consequences, he says.
Yeah, I'm not getting that quote because he says that they. It sounds to me like he's saying that the uh, the cloud seeding won't have a major effect,
Hmm.
but then he says that any poke to the climate system will have an effect. So I'm not sure what his point is there.
It said that the project that Harrison is researching would involve MCB over much shorter time periods and in a fraction of the area modeled by Rick's team, he says. So I think I think he's one of the people that's saying that yeah, sure it could work, but there are consequences.
Yeah,
That's the emphasis he's trying to
which
point
is the
at.
whole point of this article that we're reading.
Yeah, yeah. Although that said, I still think they have essentially you have essentially going to create a super weapon in the near future. So,
Yeah.
and I as much as it might help people, it's gonna hurt a lot of people in the long run.
Yeah, although going with my habit of recommending sci-fi books,
Uh huh.
there is a sci-fi book about this exact concept called Ministry of the Future.
Okay.
I've only read the first chapter of it and then I stopped because that first chapter is heavy. It's about a massive heat wave in India and Pakistan where millions of people die. And that's like the push to actually do something.
Damn. Damn. This book came out in 2020 as well.
Yeah, it's a fairly new one.
Huh. I like how it's not a sci-fi. They call it a cli-fi, climate fiction. But speaking of all things fiction, what do you think of game movies, Professor?
Most of the time, I don't think about them at all because they're usually terrible.
Really? Even the Mario movie that came out not too long ago?
Okay, that one was good, but that's an outlier.
Oh come on! Okay, I will say this: the exception doesn't disprove the rule. That's true. But in this case, Rockstar co-founder has said that the GTA movies, GTA and Red Dead Redemption movie will never be adapted to film or TV because the risk never made sense.
They will never, or they haven't been.
They never made any. They never made any sense. So Dan Houser, the Rockstar's founder, has revealed that the reason why GTA and Red Dead Redemption movies have never received any adaptation was nothing more than their own belief in artistic integrity. So he met with some studio execs to discuss a potential adaptation, and the writer turned producer detailed. After a few awkward dates, we would ask, "Why would we do this?" Because you would get you get to make a movie, and we'd be like, "No, what you've described is you making a movie and us having no control and taking a huge risk that we're going to end up paying for with something that belonged to us."
Okay, so he basically just doesn't want to give up creative control.
Yeah.
I can understand that.
And continues on by saying they thought that we'd be blinded by that we'd be blinded by the lights, and that just wasn't the case. He further detailed, we had what we considered to be a multi-billion-dollar IP, and the economics never made sense. The risk never made sense. In those days, the perception was that games were poor quality movies.
So I
And
wonder if his views have changed considering the success of some recent game adaptations. Because, yeah, I can see what he means about there being some snobbishness about video game stories not being as good as movie stories.
yeah, yeah. And to the last point, the guy then admitted that despite previously feeling this way, he had since come to believe it's a different time now.
Okay, so is it the right time to make a
It's
um
it's it's a
make a
right.
GTA movie?
I don't think it's like with GTA. They in itself are a movie in its in their own way. Like with the cutscenes. They're movie made cutscenes, and plus with games like GTA and Red Dead Redemption, are you going to include like how many side stories are you going to include into the movie? Because there are so many side quests for
Well,
both games.
obviously, you need to cut a lot down because games are many hour-long experiences, and movies need to fit into 90 minutes.
Hmm. But the problem with games like those is most of the side quests also fill into the character lore.
Yeah, but there are ways to show things in movies that you can't do in video games.
Hmm. And plus, game writing, if I recall, is totally different to movie writing. Or am I sadly mistaken?
Well, I've never written for a game, but I would say it's quite different from movies because of the interactivity.
Hmm.
When you look at a movie, you have from A to B. When you write a game, you have to take into account the interactivity. And if you're going to have a storyline that has choices,
Hmm.
that exponentially, every choice increases the amount that you have to write.
Yeah, yeah. And the other thing with movies like GTA and Red Dead is the whole ambiguity of like which ending is the right ending for and that makes people more intrigued with the game. Like you put that in the movie, it's like, ah, crap, that's not the ending I played.
Yeah, but a few movies have actually done the multiple endings thing before.
Oh,
The first one that comes to mind is the movie Clue.
Clue.
Yeah, they had different endings, and depending on which theater you saw it at, they would play a different version of the movie.
No way. That sounds awesome.
I think they also did the same thing with, I don't know if it was intentional, but the movie Escape Room, because there are two different cuts of that differ quite significantly. And I don't remember what the distribution difference between them was.
I'm looking at the Wikipedia article for the Escape Room movie. I don't see any multiple endings on this one.
No, it wasn't multiple endings like Clue. It was more like there were a couple of scenes establishing a character that were different.
Okay. I see the sequel, they had an extended cut opening and ending.
Maybe it's a sequel I'm thinking of then.
Okay.
Yeah, depending on which cut you saw, you got quite a different idea of one of the character's motivations.
Hmm. And here's an interesting one. In regards to the article, they said recording a phone call with an unidentified producer, uh, Kirk Ewig, one of the current president, one of the people that was working with it, detailed it to the eponymous host of the BBC's Bugsy Malone Greatest Game podcast. He said, "Kirk, we got Eminem to star, and it's a Tony Scott film, 5 million on the nose. Are you interested?" And I phoned up Sam and I said, listen to this. They wanted Eminem in the Grand Theft Auto movie and Tony Scott to direct. And he said, not interested.
Okay.
As to why they turned down that multi-million-dollar offer, uh, Kirk explained the the media franchise that they had was way bigger than any movie that was going to be going on at the time.
Well, that would depend on what year this was as well.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine a GTA movie with Eminem as your lead actor? That would have been wild.
So I wonder if, yeah, this is going to be a sign of the changing times and they're going to consider making a GTA movie at this point.
I think that, I mean, if they want to make a GTA movie, they'll have to do it like, maybe as like a 20th anniversary special or something like that. Like, oh, we to celebrate our big number of years of this franchise, we'll make a movie. But then the quality of the movie, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's a bit. It'll be a bit of a push. I mean, the fanboys might watch it, but then I'm not sure about the casual gamer who might watch it. So, and if they were to make a GTA movie, they will have to put there'll have to be a lot of cuts to it. Like they'll have to cut down a lot of swearing, a lot of a lot of interesting stuff that was in the game, maybe not in the movie.
That's true of most adaptations, though.
Yeah.
Especially since movies tend to aim for depending on what demographic they're aiming for, they try not to get rated too high or too low.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine a GTA movie with a lot of swearing and strippers in this current in this current movie climate? It would not go well.
I don't know, I've seen movies with lots of swearing and sex and violence in them that have done well.
Yeah. I mean, okay? Would you see it though? Like with in a summer as a summer blockbuster movie with the family and the kids.
No, you wouldn't go to see GTA with your family and your kids. That's just a stupid idea. The same way you wouldn't go and see Saw with your kids. Or you wouldn't let your kids play Resident Evil.
I mean, remember the good old days when kids would start talking about Game of Thrones?
Yeah, and they probably shouldn't have been watching it.
And the other, there is one other thing I forgot to mention. If they were to make a GTA and a Saw, no, now I've got Saw in my head now. Or if they make a GTA or a Red Dead Redemption movie, the other question you have to ask is which GTA or Red Dead Redemption game are they going to base it off from?
Well, since there's no overarching plot, I wouldn't be surprised to see them do Grand Theft Auto the movie and have it be completely unrelated to any of the games. Like, there are character cameos between the games, but I don't think there would be a full, adaptation of a GTA story.
Yeah.
It would just be something similar, which then you're just getting into crime movies, and those already exist, so do we really need a GTA movie?
Yeah. So, we'll be back after a brief commercial break, and then we'll be talking about the shout-outs and our wacky movie. So, on to our shout-outs. We talk about the things that have happened this week. On the 27th of June 2013, NASA launched the Interface Region Imaging Spectrograph space probe to observe the Sun. This was also called Explorer 94 and SMEX 12, which is a NASA solar observation satellite. This mission was funded through the Small Explorer program to investigate the physical conditions of the solar limb, particularly the interface region made up of the chromosphere and transition region. The spacecraft will consist of a satellite bus and spectrometer built by the Lockheed Martin Solar and Astrophysics Laboratory with the acronym LMSAL, which sounds like an acronym for Laughing My Small Ass Loudly. And the telescope provided by the Smithsonian Astrophysical Observation SAO. IRIS is operated by LMSAL and NASA's Ames Research Center. The satellite's instrument is a high frame rate ultraviolet imaging spectrometer providing 1 image per second at 0.3 arc-second angular resolution and sub-angstrom spectral resolution. Damn, that's a powerful telescope.
NASA only uses the best.
This spectrograph was intended to advance Sun-Earth connection studies by tracing the flow of energy and plasma into the corona and heliosphere, for which no suitable observation exists. And to achieve this, there were three ways of doing this. The types of non-thermal energy which dominate the chronosphere and beyond, the means by which the chromosphere regulates mass and energy supply to the corona or heliosphere, and how magnetic flux and matter rise through the lower solar atmosphere, and the role played by flux emergence in flares and mass ejections. To answer these questions, IRIS utilized a single instrument, a multi-channel imaging spectrograph. So this was launched on the 28th of June 2013 at 02:27:46 Universal Time by a Pegasus XL launch vehicle. That's one crazy spectrograph. Even looking at it looks cool. And on to our messed up moments in nerddom number 18. Professor, what do you have for us?
I have Dr. Vladimir Demikov.
Oh boy.
Vladimir Demikov was a Russian scientist who pioneered organ transplantation. He
Okay.
performed transplants in the 1940s and 50s, including transplanting the hearts of animals and heart-lung replacement.
Okay, that sounds nice. What's the messed up part?
How many heads do you think dogs should have?
They should have one. Yeah.
Vladimir Demikov didn't think so.
Oh no.
One of his transplant experiments was to take dogs and transplant the head of one dog onto the body of another so that it was a two-headed dog.
Nope. 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 I'm not. Nope. Nope. Two-headed dogs. Nope. 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 That ain't happening. A two-headed dog. Nope. Nope. No. 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 Jesus Christ. What was he thinking?
I'm not sure.
Okay, what was the outcome of that when he did that though?
Well, the longest living dog survived for 29 days.
Ah. Ah.
And it's really interesting because while they survived, the secondary head would react to stimulus. It would pant when it was hot, try to drink when it was thirsty. It was basically just a regular dog attached to another dog.
Wait, what did the first dog head do then?
It did everything a dog does.
No way. No. No, I can't picture it now. God damn it, Professor.
Well, you don't have to picture it because there are photos of it on the Wikipedia page.
God damn it. Now I can't see. Thanks to you, Professor. Now I can't see dogs the normal way now. I can't see it now. Oh, I bet there must have been a lot of people that got that puked after seeing this the first time around, including scientists and health and animal rights activists.
Yeah, the animal rights activists weren't happy.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know what to say, man. That's a two-headed dog. Damn it. Oh man. Anyways, on to a wacky movie where we talk about the movie that came out on this day at the time. On the 27th of June 1986, Labyrinth premiered in the US. So David Bowie apparently only had a single ball for the theatrical release of Labyrinth. Written in part and directed by Jim Henson, the fantasy feature starred Jennifer Connelly, Toby Froud, and the aforementioned David Bowie. And here's the plot summary. 16-year-old Sarah is given 13 hours to solve a labyrinth and to rescue her baby brother Toby, where her wish for him to be taken away is granted by the Goblin King Jareth. So, Brian Froud said that Labyrinth was first discussed between himself and the director Jim Henson. Both agreed to work on another project together, and Froud suggested that the film should feature goblins. Why goblins? On the same journey, Froud pictured a baby surrounded by goblins, and this strong visual image, along with Froud's insight that goblins traditionally steal babies, provided the basis for the film's plot. Henson discussed the film's origins to say that he and Froud wanted to do a lighter weight picture with more of a sense of comedy, since The Dark Crystal got kind of heavier than we had intended. Now I wanted to do a film with the characters having more personality and interacting more. Jones had said that Bowie's involvement in the project had a significant impact on the direction taken with the film. Jones had originally intended for the audience not to be seen in the center of the labyrinth prior to Sarah reaching it, as he felt that in doing so it would have robbed the film of a significant hook. Henson decided that he wanted Jareth to sing and appear throughout the film, which was something Jones considered the wrong direction, with the thought of Bowie starring in the film in mind. Despite his misgivings, Jones rewrote the script to allow performing songs throughout the film. This draft of the script went away for about a year. During this time, it was redrafted first by Phillips, then subsequently by Lucas. Oh yeah, this was also done with George Lucas, if I recall. You've seen this movie, Professor, haven't you?
I have. It's a good movie, and some of the David Bowie music is pretty good.
Oh yeah. Here's an interesting trivia for you, being a Bowie fan and all. At the early stages of filming, stars Jennifer Connelly and Bowie found it difficult to interact naturally with the puppets they shared most of their scenes with. Bowie said that I had some initial problems working with Toggle and the rest because, for one thing, what they say does not come out of their mouths, but from the side of the set or from behind you. Connolly remarked that it was a bit strange working almost exclusively with puppets in the film, but I think both Bowie, David, and I got over that, and just took it as a challenge to work with these puppets. And by the end of the film, it wasn't a challenge anymore. They were there, and their characters. It must have been hard to work with the puppets, though.
Yeah, it's often that I've heard that actors who work on mostly green screen or with puppets have more difficulty than actors who work with live people.
Yeah. Michael Jackson, Prince, and Mick Jagger were considered to play the Goblin King. Jim Henson preferred Sting until his kids convinced him that David Bowie would be best suited to it. Bowie wanted to make a children's movie and liked the concept and script, so agreed to take the part. I can totally picture Mick Jagger at a Labyrinth movie, just him doing the strut. David Bowie did the voice gurgling for the baby in the song Magic Dance. And finally, the last scene that was altered during the production, Sarah's communication with Ludo, Hoggle, and Sir Didymus would take place via her bedroom window and not her vanity mirror. After sharing their goodbyes with Sarah, her friends would simply fade away. In the movie, the scene was modified to a more upbeat resolution. Did you know about this?
No, I didn't.
Huh.
Having them appear in the mirror does make it more magical, though.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. I've heard. I think we might have spoken about this a long, long time ago. There was a talks about making a sequel to the Labyrinth movie. You reckon it will work?
Yeah, I don't think so. Not without David Bowie.
Yeah, that's true. That's actually true. I mean, David Bowie is the face of Labyrinth when you see most of the artwork and whatnot. Making a sequel without him, it doesn't feel the same. Although I don't know, man. With AI, I don't know.
It won't be the same.
It won't be the same, even with. Yeah, okay. I'm having a mental image. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it won't be the same. Anyways, that's all we have for this week. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. That's notcanon.com, Instagram, and any other audio platforms. So take care of yourselves. Stay happy, stay nerdy, and peace out.
Look after yourself, stay hydrated, and we'll see you next time.